The check for the venue deposit was burning a hole in my pocket, representing $300 I had scraped together over 6 tight months. I was finally ready to give Lily the night she had dreamed of. Then my mother set her iced tea down on the Sunday dinner table, the glass clicking against the coaster like a gavel. She looked at my daughter with terrifying calm and said, quite simply, that Lily did not deserve a 16th birthday. The envelope in my purse felt heavier than the $300 in cash it actually contained. To anyone else, $300 was a grocery run or a car repair bill. But to me, it was 6 months of skipping morning coffees, repairing my own work shoes with super glue, and staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m. doing mental arithmetic. It was the deposit for the community center annex. The only venue in Briar Glen that didn't charge a wedding-sized premium for a birthday party. I sat in my beat-up sedan in the parking lot, taking a moment to breathe before I walked in. The dashboard clock read 4:15 in the afternoon. The late September sun was trying its best to push through the gray clouds that usually hovered over our town this time of year. I looked at the photo tucked in my visor. It was Lily and me from last year. Her hair windblown, her smile bracingly bright. She was turning 16. 16. It felt like a finish line and a starting line all at once. We had made it through the braces years, the middle school drama, and the silent treatments. She was a good kid. She was honor roll. She volunteered at the animal shelter, and she made me tea when I came home from double shifts at the clinic. She deserved this. I walked into the center, the smell of floor wax and stale popcorn greeting me like an old friend. Sheila, the manager, looked up from her desk and smiled. "You brought the cash," she said. I nodded and placed the envelope on the counter. "300, I said. That secures the date. November 12th. And you said if I clean up after myself. You waived the janitorial fee." Sheila counted the bills with slow, deliberate fingers. "That is the deal, Hannah." And I threw in the microphone stand for free. I know Lily likes karaoke. I felt a tightness in my chest loosen. "Thank you, Sheila. Really." I walked out of there feeling lighter than air. It was done. The photo booth guy had agreed to a discount if I let him put his logo on the bottom of the prints. The cake was going to be homemade 3 tiers of vanilla bean sponge that I would bake myself 2 days prior. The decorations were already in a plastic bin under my bed, bought on clearance after New Year's Eve. It wasn't the country club gala my sister Brooke would have thrown, but it was ours. It was real. I picked up Lily from school 20 minutes later. She slid into the passenger seat, throwing her backpack into the footwell with the specific exhaustion of a teenager on a Friday. "Hey, Mom. Hey, sweetie. Guess what I just did?" She looked at me, a small spark in her hazel eyes. "You paid the deposit." I tapped the steering wheel. "Paid in full. November 12th is officially yours." And I got the photo booth locked in. Lily let out a breath she seemed to have been holding all day. "Thank you. Mom, seriously, I know it is a lot. It is worth it," I said, merging onto the main road that led toward the wealthier side of town, where my mother lived. Sunday dinner was mandatory in the Mercer family. It was the price of admission for being related to Evelyn Mercer. "We are just doing Sunday dinner, right?" Lily asked, her voice dropping a quiet octave. "Just dinner," I promised. "Why? You okay?" "Yeah, just Maya has been weird lately." I glanced at her. Maya, Brooke's daughter, was Lily's age, born only 3 months apart. They had been inseparable as toddlers, then competitive as tweens, and now, in high school. They existed in a fluctuating state of rivalry and alliance. Weird how I asked. She just stares at me in the hallway. And yesterday she bumped into me near the lockers and didn't say sorry. It is whatever. She is probably stressed about the scholarship thing. Brooke talked about that scholarship like it was a coronation, not an application process. It was for the Briar Glen Future Leaders Program, a pretentiously named grant that looked excellent on college applications. Just kill her with kindness. I said, "We are going to have a nice dinner. We are going to celebrate that your party is booked, and we are going to go home." If I had known that the envelope of cash I had just handed over was the last happy moment I would have for a very long time, I might have turned the car around. My mother's house was a sprawling colonial on the ridge, the kind of house that wore its maintenance costs like a badge of honor. The lawn was manicured to within an inch of its life, the hedges shaped into unnatural geometric perfection. I pulled into the driveway behind Brooke's pristine white SUV. Lily hesitated before opening her door. "You got me?" she asked. "Always," I said. We walked in, and the temperature seemed to drop 10 degrees. My mother kept the house aggressively air-conditioned, regardless of the season, as if sweating was a moral failing. In the dining room, the table was already set, fine china, crystal glasses, the heavy silver cutlery that we were only allowed to use if we promised not to scratch it. Evelyn Mercer stood at the head of the table, adjusting a floral arrangement that didn't need adjusting. "You are 4 minutes late," she said without looking up. "Traffic on Main." I lied. "Hi, Mom." She turned. Her hair was a stiff helmet of gray lacquer, her pearls legitimate, her gaze searching for a flaw. She found one immediately. "You look tired." "Hannah, the clinic is working you too hard. It is a job." "Mom, where is Dad golf trip?" she said, dismissing my father's existence with a wave of her hand. "Sit. Brooke and Maya are washing up." Lily moved to her usual spot, but Evelyn held up a hand. "Not there. Lily, you sit at the end today." "Why?" Lily asked. "Just sit," Evelyn snapped. I exchanged a look with Lily. This was new. Usually, the grandchildren sat on the sides, flanking the adults. The end of the table was isolation. Brooke breezed in a moment later, smelling of expensive perfume and nervous energy. Maya trailed behind her, looking at the floor. Maya was a beautiful girl, but she carried herself with a heavy, sulking posture today. She didn't look at Lily. "Hi, everyone," Brooke said, her voice tight. We sat. The roast beef was passed around in silence. The clinking of silver against china sounded like sword fighting. I waited for the usual interrogation about my job or my lack of a husband, but the silence stretched, thick and suffocating. So, I started, trying to break the tension. "I have some good news. I paid the deposit for the annex today. Lily's 16th is officially a go." I smiled at my daughter, waiting for the table to offer the requisite congratulations. Instead, the room went dead still. Brooke put her fork down. Maya shrank into her chair. My mother took a sip of her iced tea, placed the glass on the coaster with a sharp click, and looked directly at me. "No," she said. "Excuse me," I asked, my smile faltering. "There will be no party," Evelyn said. Her voice was level, conversational, as if she were commenting on the weather. "Lily does not deserve a celebration." I felt the blood rush to my face. "Mom, what are you talking about? We have been planning this for months." "Not after what she did to your niece," Evelyn said. She said it loudly, projecting her voice to the corners of the room. "Not after she ruined Maya's life." I looked at Brooke. My sister was staring at Lily with a mix of fury and tears welling in her eyes. "What is going on?" I demanded. "Lily, do you know what they are talking about?" Lily's eyes were wide, darting between her grandmother and her aunt. "I didn't do anything," Lily said, her voice trembling. "Don't you lie to us," Brooke hissed. She turned to me. "Hannah, Maya's interview for the Future Leaders Scholarship was canceled this morning. The committee sent an email. They said that due to a character review initiated by a digital incident, her application is on hold, indefinitely." "Okay," I said slowly. "That sounds terrible. But what does that have to do with Lily?" "Everything," Brooke shouted. "She is humiliated at school. Hannah, everyone has seen it. The video, the comments, the things Lily posted." I looked at my daughter. Lily was shaking her head violently. "Mom, I swear, we argued. Yeah. We had a fight in the cafeteria on Tuesday because she said I was jealous of her grades. And I told her she was being a snob. But that was it. I didn't post anything." Evelyn slammed her hand on the table. The silver rattled. "Stop it," Evelyn commanded. "I will not have lying at my table. We are protecting Maya, and the only way to teach you a lesson, young lady, is to take away the thing you want most. There will be no party." I took a deep breath. I had spent 33 years being managed by this woman. I was not going to let her manage my daughter. "Mom," I said, keeping my voice low, "I am sorry about Maya's interview, truly, and if Lily did something, she will face consequences, but you don't get to cancel her birthday. I am paying for it. It is my event." Evelyn turned her gaze on me. It was like looking into the barrel of a gun. "You are paying for it with money you should be saving for rent," she said coldly. "That is none of your business." I said, "It is my business when I am the one who supplements your income every month." Evelyn countered, "And it is my business when your lease renewal is coming up in 2 months. You need a cosigner. Hannah, your credit score has not recovered since the divorce." I froze. She was right. My landlord required a cosigner because my income-to-rent ratio was too tight on paper. Evelyn had signed for me last year. "If you throw that party," Evelyn said, slicing a piece of roast beef, "I will reconsider my financial assistance, and I certainly will not be signing any lease renewal. You will be on your own." The silence that followed was heavy with the weight of my precarious reality. She was threatening to make us homeless over a birthday party. Brooke chimed in, emboldened by our mother's leverage. "It is the only way she will learn. Hannah, you are too soft on her. She sabotaged Maya out of spite. A cruel stunt. That is what the guidance counselor called it. A cruel stunt to destroy a reputation." I looked at Lily. She wasn't crying. She looked stunned, pale, and terrified. "I didn't do it," Lily whispered. I looked at Brooke. "Show me." I said, "Show me the post." Brooke scoffed. "I deleted it from my phone. I couldn't stand to look at it, but the school has seen it. The board has seen it." "So you have no proof right now?" I asked. "Everyone knows it was her," Brooke shouted. "Who else has a motive? Who else was she fighting with?" I stood up. My legs felt shaky, but I locked my knees. "We are leaving," I said. "Sit down." "Hannah," Evelyn warned. "We are not finished." "Yes, we are," I said. I grabbed my purse. "Lily, let's go. You walk out that door." "Hannah, and you better start looking for a cheaper apartment." Evelyn called after me. "One that doesn't require a cosigner. Good luck finding that in this market." I didn't look back. I grabbed Lily's hand and marched us out of the dining room, past the perfectly dusted living room, and out into the cool evening air. We got into the car. I didn't start the engine immediately. I sat there, gripping the wheel until my knuckles turned white. My heart was hammering against my ribs. The threat was real. Evelyn didn't make idle threats. If I threw this party, I risked losing our home. "Mom." Lily's voice was small. I turned to her. "Did you do it?" I asked. "I need you to look me in the eye and tell me. Did you post anything about Maya? Did you try to sabotage her?" Lily unbuckled her seatbelt and turned to face me. Her eyes were full of tears now. "No. Mom, I swear on my life." I argued with her. I called her a name to her face, but I never went online. I never posted anything. I don't even know what she is talking about. I looked at her. I searched her face for the flicker of a lie, the telltale look away that she used to do when she hadn't finished her homework. It wasn't there. There was only fear and confusion. "Okay," I said. "You believe me. I believe you," I said, "and we are going to figure this out." I started the car and drove us away from the house on the ridge, down into the valley where the streetlights flickered and the rent was almost affordable. The apartment felt different when we got back. Usually, it was our sanctuary, small, cluttered with books and laundry, but ours, now. The threat of eviction hung in the corners like cobwebs. I made us tea. We sat on the couch, the TV off. "Tell me exactly what Brooke said again," I asked, "about the details." Lily wrapped her hands around the mug. She said Maya was humiliated. She said the scholarship people saw a video. "And you haven't seen this video?" "No. Maya blocked me on everything 2 days ago. I thought she was just being dramatic about the fight." I rubbed my temples. "Okay, give me your phone. Let's look at your activity log. If you didn't post it, your history will prove it." Lily reached into her pocket. She pulled out her phone, tapped the screen, and frowned. "That is weird," she muttered. "What, it says, iPhone unavailable. Try again in 1 minute. I leaned over. Why would it say that? It happens if you put the wrong passcode in too many times, Lily said. But I haven't touched it since we left Grandma's. It was in my jacket pocket hanging in the hallway while we were eating. A cold chill ran down my spine. The hallway at Evelyn's house. The coat rack was right next to the powder room. Did you go to the bathroom at Grandma's? I asked. Yeah. Before dinner. While you were talking to Aunt Brooke, I left my jacket on the rack. I stared at the phone in her hand. Someone tried to get into it. I said, "Someone tried your passcode enough times to lock it out." Did Grandma take my phone when I was in the shower? Lily asked, her voice trembling. No, wait, I mean, when I was in the bathroom, or maybe… She stopped. The implication was hanging in the air. Someone in that house, Evelyn, Brooke, or even Maya, had physically handled Lily's phone while we were in the dining room. Unlock it, I said. As soon as the minute is up. We waited in silence, watching the seconds count down. When the screen cleared, Lily punched in her code. She handed it to me. I scrolled through her photos. Nothing. I checked her social media apps. Nothing posted in the last 48 hours except a picture of our cat. I checked her deleted folder. Empty. See, Lily said. I told you. I believed her. But I needed to understand the timeline. I thought back to the dinner. Brooke had been so specific. She had been ranting about the timing of the upload. What had she said? She said, "It went up at 4:30 on Tuesday." Right when Maya was in her tutoring session. 4:30 on Tuesday. I stood up and walked to the kitchen counter where I kept my magnetized calendar. Tuesday, 4:30. I froze. On Tuesday afternoon, Lily had a dermatologist appointment. It was across town. I had picked her up from school early at 3:45 to beat the traffic. We had been in the waiting room at 4:15. She had been with me. I rushed to my purse and dug through the wad of receipts I hadn't filed yet. Gas station, grocery store, pharmacy. There it was. The parking garage receipt for the medical building. Entry 1605. Exit 1730. I held the slip of paper up to the light. If the post went up at 4:30, Lily couldn't have done it from a computer because she was sitting next to me in a waiting room with no Wi-Fi. And if she had done it from her phone, I would have seen her. We were talking about her skin cream the entire time. Lily. I called out. Yeah, on Tuesday, at the doctor's office. Did you use your phone? No. You made me hold your purse while you filled out the forms, and then we went straight in. My phone was in the car because the battery was dead. Remember I asked you for your charger cable on the way home? I remembered. She had been complaining about it being at 1% when I picked her up. My heart started to beat a different rhythm. Not fear anymore. Anger. Brooke was lying, or she was wrong. But the certainty with which she had spoken. The specific details she had weaponized to hurt my daughter, they didn't match the reality of time and space. I looked at the parking receipt again. It was a flimsy piece of thermal paper, crinkled at the edges, but it was solid proof. My mother had threatened to make us homeless based on a lie. I walked back into the living room. Lily, I said, my voice steady. Go wash your face. Try to sleep. Are you mad? She asked. No. I said, I am not mad at you. I am going to get to the bottom of this. I sat on the couch long after Lily had gone to bed. I looked at the receipt. I looked at the dark screen of my phone. I thought about the $300 I'd given Sheila. Evelyn wanted a war. She wanted to use money and leases and guilt to crush us. She wanted to skip the trial and go straight to the sentencing. She had forgotten one thing. I was a mother, and I had the truth, or at least, the first thread of it sitting right here in my hand. I wasn't going to cancel the party. I was going to find out who tried to unlock Lily's phone. I was going to find out who really posted that video, and I was going to make sure that when November 12th came around, my daughter was standing in that photo booth with a smile on her face, no matter who I had to fight to get her there. I folded the receipt carefully and put it in my wallet. Behind my driver's license, it was ammunition, and the war had just begun. The Monday morning air at Briar Glen High School smelled of wet asphalt and floor wax. It was a smell that usually triggered a vague nostalgia in me, but today it just made my stomach turn. I had called in late to the clinic, pleading a migraine, which wasn't entirely a lie. The headache that had started at my mother's dining table had settled behind my eyes like a permanent resident. I sat in the waiting area of the guidance office, staring at a poster that asked, "Is your mental health a priority?" It featured a stock photo of a smiling girl clutching a textbook. I wondered if she had a grandmother who threatened to evict her mother over a birthday party. Mrs. Gable opened her door at 9 o'clock sharp. She was a kind woman with tired eyes and a collection of ceramic frogs on her desk. She had been the counselor when I was a student here, which made this conversation feel even more like I was being sent to the principal's office. "Hannah," she said, gesturing to the chair. "It is good to see you, though I wish it were under better circumstances." I sat down, keeping my posture rigid. "I need to know what is going on." Mrs. Gable. "My family is tearing itself apart over an incident that no one will show me proof of. Brooke told me Maya was suspended or expelled. She said her scholarship was revoked." Mrs. Gable adjusted her glasses and frowned. "Expelled, no. Maya is in second period right now. She is in AP English." I felt a wave of relief, followed immediately by a surge of anger. Brooke had lied, or she had exaggerated so severely that it amounted to a lie. "And the suspension?" I asked. "There has been no suspension," Mrs. Gable said carefully. "However, there is an active review. We are looking into a cyber incident. It is tied to the student fundraising committee." "Fundraising?" I asked. I thought this was about a personal fight between cousins. "It is complicated," Mrs. Gable said. She tapped a folder on her desk but didn't open it. There was a video circulated. It appeared to mock the integrity of the committee's financial handling. Since Maya is the treasurer, it reflected poorly on her. The video was edited, cruelly. "And you think Lily made it?" Mrs. Gable sighed. "We have received reports that point to Lily. We are investigating." "But Hannah, you need to know that your mother has been very involved." "My mother?" I asked, my voice rising. "Evelyn. She has been in contact with Principal Higgins, and she has been speaking with the board of the Briar Glen Youth Initiative. She calls it damage control. She seems very concerned with getting ahead of the story before it impacts the wider community." I stared at the ceramic frogs. Evelyn wasn't just punishing Lily. She was managing a PR crisis. But why would a high school spat require damage control from a woman who hadn't stepped foot in a public school in 30 years? "So Maya is still in school," I said, confirming the facts. "And the scholarship?" "The interview was postponed," Mrs. Gable admitted. "Not cancelled. Postponed pending the result of this review. If Lily is found responsible for cyberbullying or defamation, then yes, there will be consequences for Lily. But Maya is not the one facing expulsion." I stood up. "Thank you, Mrs. Gable. That is all I needed to hear." I walked out of the school with my hands shaking. Brooke had painted a picture of a destroyed life to guilt me into compliance. Maya was fine. She was in English class. The only thing that was damaged was the truth. That evening, the apartment was quiet. I had made spaghetti, Lily's favorite, but neither of us was eating much. Lily was pushing a meatball around her plate with a fork, her shoulders hunched. "Lily," I said gently. She looked up. Her eyes were red-rimmed. "I went to the school today." She froze. "Did they suspend me?" she asked. "No, and they didn't suspend Maya either." Lily let out a breath, dropping her fork. "Mom, I didn't do it. I know you said that, but I need you to show me everything. If I am going to fight for you, and I am going to fight for you, I cannot be blindsided. I need to see the texts, the arguments, everything." Lily hesitated. She looked at her phone sitting on the table like it was a bomb. "It is embarrassing," she whispered. "I don't care about embarrassing." I said, "I care about the truth." She picked up the phone, unlocked it, and slid it across the table to me. "Open the group chat called The Table." She said. I opened the messaging app. The chat had 4 members: Lily, Maya, and 2 other girls I recognized as neighbors. I scrolled back 3 days. It was brutal, but not in the way Brooke had described. There was a user in the chat named guest_882. Guest underscore 882. Heard someone is stealing from the pot. Guest underscore 882. Maya, is that a new bag? Nice how the budget shrinks and your closet expands. Then, a response from Lily's account. Lily. Maybe if she actually did the work instead of posing for pics, we would have hit the goal. I looked at Lily. I wrote that, Lily admitted, pointing to the text. That was the fight. I was mad because she took credit for the bake sale setup when I did all the heavy lifting. But Mom, look at what happens next. I scrolled down. Guest underscore 882. Lily knows the truth. Tell them, Lil, show them the video. Lily, I don't have a video. Shut up. Guest underscore 882. Don't be shy. I know you have it. Uploading now. Then, a link was posted by guest underscore 882. I tapped the link, but it was dead. Content removed. This person. This guest account. I said, who is it? I don't know. Lily said, they joined the chat a week ago. We thought it was just one of the guys from the soccer team messing around, but they kept baiting us, trying to get me to say mean things about Maya, and trying to get Maya to snap at me. I looked closely at the timestamps. The guest underscore 882 account had posted the link to the video at 4:30 on Tuesday. This matches, I muttered. The person who posted the video isn't you. It is this account. But everyone thinks it is me because I was arguing with her right before it happened. Lily said, and because the video... She stopped. Because the video what I asked. Lily looked down at her hands. The video that was posted. The one I haven't seen, I think I know what it is. I waited. I filmed a clip a month ago. Lily said quietly. We were goofing around in the media room. Maya was pretending to be a villain stealing money from a vault. It was a skit. Mom, we were laughing. It was on the shared drive for the media class. Anyone could have accessed it, but someone took that clip and edited it to make it look real, like a hidden camera video. So the raw footage exists, I asked. It should be on the school drive, she said, unless someone deleted it. I sat back. This was calculated. This wasn't just a temper tantrum. It was a setup. Someone had taken a harmless moment, weaponized it, and released it exactly when tensions were high. I need to talk to your aunt, I said. I picked up my own phone and dialed Brooke. She didn't answer. I texted her. Brooke, I need to see the proof. Send me the screenshots of the post you claim Lily made, if you want me to punish her. I need evidence. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed. An image loaded. It was a screenshot of a video player. The caption read, Treasurer caught red-handed, Briar Glen fraud. But the image was cropped tight. It showed the video frame and the caption. It didn't show the account name of the poster. It didn't show the time it was uploaded. It didn't show the interface of the app. I stared at it. It was useless as legal evidence, but it was perfect for emotional manipulation. I need the uncropped version. I typed back. I need to see the timestamp and the handle. Brooke's reply came instantly. This is what the principal sent me. Stop trying to find loopholes. Hannah, your daughter is a bully. Fix it or Mom is done with you. I put the phone down. They were closing ranks. They didn't want the truth. They wanted a scapegoat. Lily, I asked, there is something else. She looked up, her face pale. Evelyn mentioned damage control. Mrs. Gable mentioned the board of the nonprofit. Why is this blowing up so big? Why are adults involved in high school drama? Lily bit her lip. She looked terrified. Mom, she said, I did something else. 2 weeks ago. My heart hammered. What did you do? I sent an anonymous report. She said, to the Briar Glen Community Oversight Box. It is an online form. You can submit tips if you see something wrong in town programs. Okay, I said slowly. What did you report? I was at the center helping set up for the fall drive. Lily said, and I saw Mr. Henderson. Mr. Henderson was a pillar of the community. He was on the board of 3 charities. He was a friend of my mother's. I saw him with one of the new interns. Lily said, he was yelling at her, really yelling, and he grabbed her arm. It looked scary. And then I heard him say something about fixing the ledger before the audit. I felt the room spin. You reported this. I didn't use my name, Lily cried. I just wrote that there was aggressive behavior and possible financial mismanagement at the center. I thought someone would just look into it. I thought it would protect the intern. And what happened? Nothing happened, Lily said. Except 2 days later, Grandma came to dinner and started talking about how the town is full of spies and liars. And then suddenly, everyone started looking at Maya's fundraising committee, like they were trying to find a money problem there instead of where I said it was. I closed my eyes. Oh, Lily, I whispered, you didn't just start a fight with your cousin. You threw a rock at a hornet's nest. The timeline clicked into place. Lily makes a report about a powerful man. The report mentions financial issues. Suddenly, a video surfaces showing Maya Lily's cousin stealing money. It was a deflection. A decoy flare. If everyone was looking at a high school girl's theft, they weren't looking at Mr. Henderson's ledger, and my mother was helping them do it. I needed to look Brooke in the eye. I couldn't do it at Evelyn's house, where the very walls seemed to listen and report back to the matriarch. I texted Brooke the next morning, meet me at the Roasted Bean, noon, just us. We need to settle this before I talk to Lily again. I framed it like I was ready to surrender. It was the only way she would come. I arrived at 11:45. The coffee shop was noisy, filled with the clatter of ceramic mugs and the hiss of espresso machines. I bought a black coffee and found a table in the back corner. At noon, the door chimed. Brooke walked in, but she wasn't alone. Evelyn walked in behind her, wearing a tweed blazer and sunglasses, looking like she was arriving for a deposition. I felt a spike of irritation. Of course. Brooke couldn't use the bathroom without getting Evelyn's permission. They marched to my table. Evelyn didn't wait for an invitation. She pulled out a chair and sat. Brooke sat next to her, looking nervous but defiant. I thought I said just us. Brooke, I said, your mother is part of this family. Brooke said stiffly, I am here to ensure we reach a sensible conclusion. Evelyn said. She placed her handbag on the table. It was a heavy leather thing that looked like it cost more than my car. Have you canceled the venue yet? I took a sip of my coffee. No, I said. Evelyn's lips thinned. Hannah, we made our position very clear. I know. I said, you threatened my housing. That was very clear. But I went to the school yesterday. Brooke stiffened. You went to the school. Why to get the facts? I said, Maya isn't expelled. The scholarship isn't revoked. It is under review. It is the same thing Brooke snapped. Her reputation is in tatters. Is it? I asked. Or is that just what you are telling me to make me comply? I pulled out my phone and laid it on the table. Screen down. I saw the group chat. Brooke. I saw the user called guest_882, the one who actually posted the video. Do you know who that is? Brooke blinked. She looked at Evelyn. I don't know what you're talking about. Brooke said, Lily posted it. Lily was with me at the dermatologist when that video went live. I said, I have the receipt. I have the timestamp. Physically. She could not have done it. Evelyn waved her hand dismissively, as if I were boring her with trivial details. It does not matter who pressed the button. Hannah, Lily created the environment. She started the rumors. She has been jealous of Maya for years. This isn't about jealousy. Mom, I said, keeping my voice low but intense. This is about a fake account, and it is about a video that was edited to look like a crime. It was a crime, Brooke said. She stole from the charity, Maya, I asked. You think Maya stole? No, Brooke flustered. I mean, the video makes it look like... Look, the point is, the donor pulled out. I froze. What donor? I asked. Brooke's eyes widened. She realized she had slipped. The donor for the scholarship. She stammered. No, you said the charity. I said, you said the incident cost the charity a donor. I never mentioned a charity. I thought this was about the Future Leaders Scholarship. Evelyn cut in, her voice sharp as a razor. You are splitting hairs. Hannah, the Future Leaders program is funded by local charities. It is all connected. When you poison the water in one well, you poison them all. She leaned forward. Here is the reality. Hannah, Mr. Henderson is very upset. He is a major benefactor for the school and the arts program. This petty high school drama is reflecting poorly on the families involved. He has asked me, personally, to handle it. Mr. Henderson. I repeated, the name Lily had mentioned, the man she had reported. Why is Mr. Henderson involved in my daughter's birthday party? I asked. Because he expects our family to demonstrate values, Evelyn said. He expects us to discipline our children when they act out. If we show that we are handling Lily, that we are punishing the wrongdoer, then the board can move on. The review goes away. Maya's scholarship is secure. And if we don't, I asked, then the investigation widens, Evelyn said darkly. And who knows what they will find? Perhaps they will find that Maya wasn't vigilant enough. Perhaps they will find that your sister's parenting is lacking. Or perhaps they will decide that the Mercer family is simply too much trouble to associate with. She let the threat hang there. It wasn't just about me anymore. She was holding Brooke hostage too. If I didn't sacrifice Lily, Evelyn would let Brooke take the fall for whatever mess this was. You are asking me to frame my daughter to save Brooke's reputation with a donor. I said, I am asking you to be a mother who understands the bigger picture. Evelyn corrected. Cancel the party. Issue a public apology from Lily. And I will make sure your lease is signed. And if I don't... Evelyn stood up. She didn't look angry. She looked disappointed, which was always worse. Check your bank account. Hannah, she said, what the transfer? The $200 I send you on the 15th for Lily's incidentals. I believe you were planning to use it for the cake ingredients. I felt cold. I canceled the standing order this morning. Evelyn said, consider it a preview. She turned and walked out. Brooke lingered for a second. She looked like she wanted to say something, her face crumbling into a mask of misery. Just do it. Hannah, Brooke whispered. Please, we can't afford a scandal right now. You don't know how bad it is. Then she turned and followed our mother out the door. I sat in the coffee shop for a long time. The coffee in my cup had gone cold. I pulled up my banking app on my phone. Account balance $42.50. The transfer from Evelyn, usually pending by now, was nowhere to be seen. She had done it. She had cut the line. I thought about the $300 I had given to the venue. That was gone. I had $40 to my name until my next paycheck, which was 10 days away. I could feel the panic rising, the familiar constriction in my chest that came with poverty, the fear of the declined card, the fear of the empty fridge. But beneath the panic, there was something harder, something like iron. Brooke had mentioned a donor. Evelyn had mentioned Mr. Henderson. Lily had mentioned a report about financial mismanagement. They were using my daughter as a shield. They were using a 16-year-old girl's birthday as a distraction from something illegal that an adult had done. I closed the banking app. I wasn't going to cancel the party. If I canceled, I was telling Lily that truth didn't matter. I was telling her that money and power won every time. I was telling her that she was disposable. I couldn't do that. But I couldn't fight them with righteousness alone. Righteousness didn't pay the rent. I needed evidence. I needed to know who guest_882 was. I needed to know who edited that video. And I needed to know exactly what Mr. Henderson was afraid of. I picked up my phone and dialed the number of a man I hadn't spoken to in 2 years. Not my ex-husband. Someone else, Gary, from the clinic. The tech guy who fixed the servers when they went down. The guy who once told me he could find out anything about anyone if he had a phone number. Hey, Gary. I said when he answered, It's Hannah. I need a favor. A big one. I paused, listening to his surprise. No, the servers are fine. I said, This is personal. I need to trace a digital footprint, and I need to do it without anyone knowing I'm looking. I walked out of the coffee shop. The sun was hidden behind the clouds, but the air felt crisp. I was broke. I was threatened. My family was at war, but for the first time in days. I didn't feel helpless. I felt like a hunter, and I was going to catch them, all of them. Later that night, after Lily had gone to sleep, I sat at the kitchen table with a notebook. I drew a line down the middle of the page. The official story. Lily is jealous. Lily posted a video. Maya lost a scholarship. Evelyn is protecting the family name. The real story. Lily reported, Mr. Henderson, a fake account posted the video. Maya is fine, but the board is panicking. Evelyn is protecting the money. I looked at the two lists. The gap between them was where the truth lived. I heard a soft noise and looked up. Lily was standing in the doorway, wearing her oversized pajamas. Mom, she asked. Yeah, sweetie. Are we going to lose the apartment? I stood up and walked over to her. I pulled her into a hug, burying my face in her hair. She smelled of vanilla shampoo and innocence. No, I said fiercely. We are not losing anything. But Grandma said, Grandma talks a lot. I said, but she doesn't hold the keys to the world. I pulled back and looked at her. Lily, I need you to be brave. Can you do that? Yeah, she whispered. I need you to act normal. Go to school. Ignore Maya. Don't engage with the group chat. Let them think they have won. Why? Because when people think they have won, they get sloppy. I said, and we need them to be sloppy. Lily nodded. Okay, Mom, go to bed. I watched her walk back to her room. I looked back at my notebook. I circled the name, Mr. Henderson. You picked the wrong girl to scapegoat. I whispered to the empty room. I turned off the light. The darkness of the apartment felt different tonight. It wasn't empty. It was waiting. Tomorrow, I would go to the venue. Tomorrow, I would meet Gary. Tomorrow, I would start digging. The Sweet 16 wasn't just a party anymore. It was a deadline, and I intended to meet it. The morning sun hit the windshield of my car with a glare that felt more like an interrogation lamp than daylight. I drove to the community center annex with a knot in my stomach that had nothing to do with hunger and everything to do with the suspicion that my mother's reach extended further than her dining room table. I parked and walked into the lobby. Sheila was there, organizing a stack of flyers for a fall craft fair. When she saw me, her expression shifted from professional courtesy to genuine confusion. Hannah, she said, I thought you weren't coming. I stopped halfway to the counter. Why wouldn't I be coming, I asked. Because of the call. Sheila said, she put the flyers down. You called yesterday afternoon. You said the party was off. You said there was a family emergency and you needed the deposit refunded to a different card. The air left the room. I didn't call you. Sheila, I said, my voice steady despite the tremor in my hands. I was at work all afternoon. Sheila frowned, pulling a logbook toward her. A woman called. She said, she sounded just like you. Maybe a little more. Clipped. She had the reservation number. She had the date. She asked to cancel everything. I gripped the edge of the counter. Did you cancel it? No, Sheila said, because of the security question. I exhaled. I had set up a security question with Sheila 3 years ago when I rented the hall for a baby shower. A paranoid habit from my days working in a medical office where identity verification was gospel. She couldn't answer it, I asked. She guessed. Sheila said, she said the name of your first pet was Fluffy. Then she said Buster. And then I told her that unless she could tell me the name of the street you grew up on, I couldn't release the funds. She hung up on me. I closed my eyes. The street I grew up on was technically my mother's address, but the security answer was Maplewood, the street where my father had lived in a small apartment after the divorce. It was a detail only I cherished. Evelyn refused to acknowledge that place existed. It wasn't me. Sheila, I said, opening my eyes, and the party is still on. If anyone calls anyone at all, you tell them to call me directly. I will. Sheila promised. She looked concerned. Is everything okay? Hannah. It is fine, I lied. Just a mix-up. I walked out of the annex feeling like I was being hunted. Someone had tried to impersonate me. Someone who knew the reservation details but didn't know the secret pieces of my heart. That narrowed the list of suspects considerably. But the sheer audacity of it made my skin crawl. They weren't just trying to stop the party. They were trying to steal the money back. I needed facts that couldn't be argued away at a dinner table. I drove straight to the clinic, swiping my badge at the side entrance. I wasn't on the schedule until noon, but I headed straight for the server room where Gary reigned supreme. Gary was a man who communicated better with machines than people, but he had a soft spot for Lily, who had once fixed his jammed stapler when she visited the office. "I need you to look at something," I said, placing Lily's phone on his desk. Gary spun his chair around, eyeing the device. "Forensics," he asked. "Defense." I said, "I need to prove that this device did not upload a specific file to the internet on Tuesday at 4:30 in the afternoon." Gary cracked his knuckles. "Unlock it." I punched in the code. Gary plugged it into his tower, and 2 monitors sprang to life with cascading lines of text. He worked in silence for 10 minutes, his eyes darting back and forth. "Okay," he said finally. "Here is your digital heartbeat." He pointed to a graph on the left screen. "Tuesday," he recited. "Phone activity is normal until 3:45. Then, nothing, 0 data usage, no Wi-Fi handshake, no cellular packet transfer, because the battery died." I said, "Correct," Gary said. "The logs show a power-down event at 3:50. The phone didn't power back up until 6:15 that evening, and between 3:50 and 6:15 I asked." Radio silence. Gary said, "It is physically impossible for this device to have uploaded anything. It was a brick." "Could she have done it from another device?" I asked. "Sure," Gary said. "But if she was with you—" "She was," I said. "Then she is clean. Hannah. But look at this." He pointed to a different log. "What is it?" "This is a cloud sync request," Gary said. "It happened yesterday. Someone tried to access her backup from a desktop computer. The IP address isn't local. It is masking through a VPN, but the request signature suggests they were looking for media files. They were looking for the video." I realized. "They wanted to make sure it was gone, or maybe they wanted a copy to plant." "Can you trace the IP?" I asked. Gary shook his head. "Not easily, but I can tell you this: whoever posted that video didn't do it from this phone. And if they are smart enough to use a VPN to search her backups, they aren't just high school kids messing around. This is deliberate." "Can you print that log?" I asked. Gary hit a button. The printer whirred. "Take it," he said. "And Hannah, watch your back. Digital trails don't lie. But the people who make them do." I picked Lily up from school that afternoon. She got into the car, her face blotchy. "Mom, it is everywhere," she whispered. "I didn't start the car." "What is everywhere?" "The video," she said. "It is in the parent Facebook group now. Mrs. Miller showed it to her daughter, and her daughter showed me." I took the phone from her hand. "Show me," I said. She navigated to a saved screen recording. I watched it. It was 15 seconds long. The camera angle was shaky, filming from a low vantage point. In the frame, Maya was standing over a metal cash box, the kind used for bake sales. She looked over her shoulder, her expression shifting from a smile to a scowl, and then she shoved a handful of bills into her purse. The caption overlaid on the video read, "Future leader or future felon Maya Mercer thief." I watched it twice. It looked damning. To a stranger, it looked exactly like a girl stealing charity money. But then I looked at Lily. She was crying, but not out of guilt. She was crying with recognition. I filmed that. She sobbed. "You filmed it?" I asked, feeling a spike of panic. "Not like that," Lily cried. "It was for the drama club montage. We were doing a spoof of a heist movie. The cash box was a prop. The money was Monopoly money. We photocopied." I looked closer at the screen. The bills did look slightly off color. The green too pale. "You filmed a skit," I said slowly. "Yes," Lily said. "It was funny." Maya was playing the evil banker. I filmed it on the school iPad, and we saved it to the shared drive so the editor could put it in the year-end video. "The shared drive," I repeated. "Who has access to that drive?" "Everyone in the club," Lily said. "The teacher, the student officers. There is a general login written on the whiteboard in the media room." I felt the pieces clicking together with a sickening sound. "Someone took the raw footage," I said. "They cropped out the beginning where you probably said, 'action,' and they cropped out the end where you probably laughed. They put a filter on it to make it look gritty, and they released it. They framed her," Lily whispered, "and they used my footage to do it." So everyone thinks I did it because I was the one holding the camera originally. It was brilliant, in a twisted, sadistic way. It implicated Lily by the very nature of the file's origin. While destroying Maya's reputation with visual proof, we need that raw footage, I said. It is gone, Lily said. I checked the drive during study hall. The folder is empty. Of course it is, I muttered. I dropped Lily at home with strict instructions to lock the door and not answer the phone. Then I drove to the office of the Briar Glen Youth Initiative. It was located in a small brick building downtown, sharing space with the Chamber of Commerce. I walked in. The receptionist was a young woman who looked like she would rather be anywhere else. I need to see the incident report regarding the investigation into Maya Mercer and Lily Mercer. I said, I am Lily's mother. She blinked at me. I can't release internal documents. She said, my daughter is being accused of cyberbullying in connection with this organization. I said, leaning on the desk, and my niece is being accused of theft. I have reason to believe the evidence was fabricated using organization property. I need to see the report. She looked nervous. She picked up the phone. Let me call Mr. Henderson's assistant. She said, Mr. Henderson again. The name was becoming a recurring motif in this nightmare. She spoke in hushed tones, then hung up. Mr. Henderson is not available, she said, and the board has sealed the incident report pending a third-party audit. You will have to wait for the official findings. Who is on this board, I asked. Besides Mr. Henderson. It is public record, she said, gesturing to a plaque on the wall. I walked over to it. The brass names shone under the fluorescent lights. Thomas Henderson, Sarah Jenkins, Robert Thorne, Evelyn Mercer. My breath hitched. My mother wasn't just speaking to the board. She was on the board. She had been listed as an honorary advisor for years, but I hadn't realized she had full voting power. I turned back to the receptionist. Does Evelyn Mercer have access to the incident report? The receptionist hesitated. Mrs. Mercer is the one who requested the seal, she said. I walked out. My mother had sealed the report. She had locked away the truth to protect the family, while simultaneously using the lack of truth to persecute Lily. It was a masterclass in control. The next day, I parked in the back lot of the high school, waiting for Lily. The bell rang, and a flood of teenagers poured out. I saw Maya before I saw Lily. She was walking alone, her head down, clutching her books to her chest like armor. She looked thinner than she had on Sunday. I got out of the car. Maya, I called. She looked up, startled. She saw me and froze. For a second, I thought she would run. Instead, she took a hesitant step toward me. Hannah, she said. Her voice was brittle. Maya, talk to me, I said, keeping my distance so I wouldn't spook her. Lily told me about the skit, the heist movie. I know the money was fake. Maya's face crumpled. I didn't steal anything. Hannah, it was a joke. I know, I said gently. I know. But someone turned it into a weapon. Who did it? Maya. She looked around, her eyes wide with fear. I don't know who posted it, she whispered, but what I didn't want it to go this far. She said. The words tumbled out. I was told that if I just kept quiet, it would blow over. I was told that if I let them blame Lily for a few days, the audit would get canceled and everything would be fine. Who told you that? I asked. Who told you to let Lily take the fall? Maya opened her mouth to speak, but her gaze snapped to something behind me. The color drained from her face. I turned. Brooke's white SUV had just pulled up to the curb. My sister was staring at us through the windshield, her expression unreadable behind oversized sunglasses. I have to go, Maya said. She backed away. Please don't tell my mom I talked to you. Maya, I called, but she was already running toward the SUV. She got in, and the car sped away without Brooke even acknowledging my existence. I stood in the exhaust fumes, my heart pounding. Maya was being coached. She was a pawn in a game she didn't understand, terrified of the very people who were supposed to be protecting her. I needed to see my mother, not to confront her, not yet, but because I needed to be in the space where the lies were being manufactured. I used the excuse of picking up a piece of mail that had been sent to my old address. A tax document I actually needed. I let myself in with the spare key I had never returned. The house was silent. Evelyn was out, likely at a board meeting or a garden club luncheon where she could hold court. I walked into the living room. It was pristine, as always. The air smelled of lemon polish and old money. I grabbed my mail from the side table. As I turned to leave, my eyes fell on the printer in the corner of the room. It was a high-end laser model, the kind that hummed with efficiency. There was a single sheet of paper sitting in the output tray. I walked over to it. It was a printout of a Google account recovery page. Account recovery for Brian, Glenn, Media, archive@gmail.com. Enter the code sent to your recovery phone number, ending in .89. I stared at it. Briar Glen Media Archive. That sounded like the shared drive Lily had described, the one used by the drama club, and the phone number ending in 89. That wasn't the drama teacher's number, and it wasn't a school administrator's number. I looked closer at the paper. There were smudges of fresh ink on the margin, as if someone had grabbed it hastily and then forgotten to throw it away. Or maybe they had printed 2 copies and left one behind. I took a picture of the page with my phone. Then I folded the paper and put it in my purse. Why was my mother's printer being used to recover the password for a high school media drive? Evelyn couldn't operate a microwave without instructions. She wasn't hacking into shared drives. But someone in this house was... My phone rang as I was driving home. The name on the screen made my stomach drop. David, my ex-husband, Lily's father. He lived 2 towns over and saw Lily every other weekend. A schedule he adhered to with the enthusiasm of someone paying a parking ticket. Hannah, he said, no preamble. Hello? David, I got a call from your mother. He said, of course you did. I said, she says Lily is out of control. David said, she says there is cyberbullying, police involvement, expulsion hearings. None of that is true. David, there is a review, and Lily is innocent. We have proof. That is not what Evelyn says. David countered. She says you are in denial. She says you are dragging this out and making it worse for everyone. And you believe her, I asked. Over me. Over your daughter. I believe that where there is smoke, there is fire, Hannah, and I don't want Lily caught in the middle of your issues with your sister. My issues. I laughed, a harsh sound. This isn't about me and Brooke. This is about them framing our daughter. Look, David said, his voice dropping to that reasonable, condescending tone I hated. Evelyn suggested that maybe Lily should come stay with me for a few months. Until this blows over. Just to get her out of that environment, I gripped the steering wheel. You want to take her now. When she needs me most, I want to provide stability. Hannah, Evelyn thinks it is best. And honestly, if you can't control her... I hung up. I threw the phone onto the passenger seat. They were trying to take her. Evelyn was triangulating, bringing David in to squeeze me from the other side. If I didn't capitulate, they would paint me as an unfit mother and ship Lily off to her father's condo where she would be treated like a delinquent. It felt like punishment disguised as help. It was a power move designed to break me. I pulled over to the side of the road. I needed to scream, but I didn't have the luxury. I had to be the rock. Stability. I would show them stability. I needed a professional. I couldn't rely on Gary for everything, and I certainly couldn't rely on the police, who were likely playing golf with Mr. Henderson. I called a friend from nursing school whose brother was a paralegal. She had mentioned a guy once, a private investigator who was cheap because he worked out of his van and mostly caught cheating spouses, but who was honest. His name was Donnie. I met him in the parking lot of a diner on the edge of town. He looked like a rumpled bedsheet, wearing a trench coat that was cliché enough to be ironic. I have $300. I said, it was the money for the venue, the money Sheila hadn't refunded because the party was still on. But I had to make a choice. A party was useless if my daughter was living with her father and I was evicted. I need a digital trail verified. I said, I have a phone number, I have a Gmail address, and I have a suspicious login from a specific location. Donnie took the cash. He didn't count it. What is the number, he asked. I showed him the picture of the printer page. The number ending in 89, I said. And I need to know who owns the email guest_882_temp@gmail.com, if it exists. Give me 24 hours, Donnie said. The 24 hours passed like a kidney stone. I went to work. I came home. I made sure Lily did her homework. I ignored 3 texts from Brooke and 1 voicemail from David asking when he could pick Lily up. On Thursday night, my phone buzzed. It was Donnie. Got something. The text read, "Call me." I went into the bathroom and turned on the shower so Lily wouldn't hear. I sat on the closed toilet lid and dialed. "Talk to me." "Donnie?" I said. "Okay," he said. His voice was raspy. "The email brian.glenn.media.archive is a standard shared account, but the recovery number ending in 89. That is the key. Who does it belong to?" I asked. "It is a burner app number," Donnie said. "But those apps still need a primary carrier to piggyback on for data if they aren't on Wi-Fi. I traced the handshake from the login time you gave me, and the burner number is registered to a device on a Verizon family plan." Donnie said, "Whose plan?" "The account holder is Evelyn Mercer," Donnie said. I stared at the tiles on the floor. "My mother, here is the kicker," Donnie continued. "The plan has 4 lines, 1 for Evelyn, 1 for a Thomas Henderson." "Henderson," I whispered. "Why is Henderson on my mother's phone plan?" "Don't know." Donnie said, "Maybe they are closer than you think. But there is a 3rd line. That is the one the burner app is installed on." "Who uses the 3rd line?" I asked, though a cold dread was already filling my chest. I cross-referenced the usage. Donnie said, "It pings mostly from the high school during the day, and it pings from Brooke Mercer's address at night. It is Maya's phone." I said, "Maya's phone, running a burner number, linked to Evelyn's master account." Donnie confirmed. "That is where the fake account came from. That is where the video was uploaded." I thanked him and hung up. I sat there as the shower ran, steam filling the room. It wasn't just that Maya had done it. It was that Evelyn had facilitated it. She paid the bill. She likely provided the burner app strategy, or someone in her circle did, and Mr. Henderson was on her phone plan. That was the detail that turned this from a family feud into a conspiracy. Why would a wealthy board member be on my mother's family plan unless they were hiding his communications too? They weren't just protecting Maya's scholarship, they were protecting a network of secrets. I turned off the shower. I had the truth now. I knew who guest_882 was. I knew who stole the video. And I knew that my mother was bankrolling the destruction of her own granddaughter to keep her power structure intact. I walked out of the bathroom. Lily was sitting on her bed, reading a book. "Mom," she asked, "you look scary." I walked over and kissed her forehead. "I am not scary." I said, "I am just ready." "Ready for what?" "To blow the roof off this house," I said. I wasn't going to wait for the Sweet 16 to reveal this. I was going to take the fight to them, but I had to be smart. I had to trap them in their own lie. I picked up my phone and texted Sheila at the venue. "Confirm the date." I wrote, "We are going to have a party." Then I texted Brooke, "I am ready to sign the loan papers. Come over tomorrow." It was a lie, but it was the only way to get her in the room. And once she was in the room, I wasn't going to let her leave until she admitted everything. The investigator's report burned a hole in my pocket. It was time to light the fuse. The driveway to my mother's house felt longer than usual, a winding asphalt tongue leading into the mouth of the beast. I had the printout from Donnie in my purse, a single sheet of paper that traced the invisible lines of betrayal right back to Evelyn's family plan. I parked my car next to her pristine rose bushes, took a deep breath that tasted of ozone and impending rain, and walked to the front door. I didn't knock. I used my key, the metal feeling cold and heavy in my hand. Evelyn was in the sunroom, reading a biography of a dead president. She looked up as I entered, her expression one of mild annoyance, as if I were a draft from an open window. "You are here," she said. "I assume this means you have come to your senses about the party." I pulled the chair opposite her and sat down. I didn't scream. I didn't throw a vase. I placed the paper on the glass coffee table between us. "I know about the phone. Mom, I said. Evelyn glanced at the paper but didn't pick it up. I have no idea what you're talking about, she said, turning a page of her book. The burner number, I said, keeping my voice dangerously level. The one ending in 89, the one used to create the fake account that posted the video of Maya. It is registered to a line on your Verizon account. Evelyn stopped reading. She closed the book slowly, placing it on her lap. She looked at me with a gaze that could strip paint. You have been spying on me, she stated. I have been investigating a crime committed against my daughter. I corrected. A crime that originated from a device you pay for. Who uses the third line? Mom. Is it Maya? Or did you hand the phone to someone else? Evelyn sighed, a sound of profound disappointment. You are focusing on the wrong things. Hannah, you always have. You get lost in the weeds of technicalities and miss the landscape. Technicalities, I repeated, incredulous. Mom, someone used a phone on your plan to frame Lily for cyberbullying. That is not a technicality. That is malice. It is irrelevant. Evelyn snapped, her voice finally rising. She stood up, walking to the window to look out at her perfectly manicured lawn. It does not matter who pressed the button. Hannah, it does not matter who uploaded the clip. What matters is that the clip exists. What matters is that Lily wrote the script. She created the environment. I stared at her back. Created the environment, I asked. She wrote a skit for drama class. She created a culture of disrespect. Evelyn said, turning to face me. She wrote a scene mocking authority and theft. She is the one who introduced those ideas. Even if she didn't post it, she provided the ammunition. If a gun is left on a table and someone shoots it, do you blame the shooter or the person who left the weapon unattended? I blame the shooter, I shouted. Standing up, any rational person blames the shooter. Then you are naive, Evelyn said coldly. In this family, we take responsibility for the mess we invite. Lily invited this scrutiny when she made that reckless report about Mr. Henderson. She invited chaos, and now she has to pay the price to restore order. So this is punishment, I said. You admit it? You are letting Maya or whoever used that phone destroy Lily's reputation to teach her a lesson about silence. I am doing what is necessary to protect the family's standing. Evelyn said, Mr. Henderson is a vital ally. If sacrificing a birthday party and issuing an apology keeps him on the board and keeps Maya's scholarship viable, then it is a small price to pay. It is not your price to pay. I said, it is Lily's. Evelyn walked toward me, stopping inches away. The smell of her expensive floral perfume was suffocating. If you expose this, Hannah, if you drag Maya or me into a public scandal over phone records, I will destroy you. I will pull every financial lever I have. You will be evicted. You will be bankrupt. And I will make sure the entire town knows that your daughter is a liar who attacks community leaders. I looked at my mother. I saw the fear behind her eyes. It wasn't about morality. It was about control. She was terrified of losing her grip on the narrative. You can try. Mom, I said, but I am not signing anything, and I am not canceling. I walked out of the sunroom, leaving the paper on the table. It was a declaration of war. I needed to find the weak link. Evelyn was iron, but Maya was glass. I knew Maya had a standing appointment with Mrs. Gable on Friday afternoons. I parked my car down the street from the school and walked to the side exit near the guidance office. I waited for 20 minutes, watching the leaves swirl on the pavement. At 3:10, the door opened. Maya walked out. She looked awful. Her skin was gray, her eyes puffy. She wasn't the vibrant, confident girl who had been captain of the debate team. She looked like a ghost haunting her own life. Maya, I said softly. She jumped, dropping her keys. I bent down to pick them up, but she snatched them back, backing away until she hit the brick wall of the gym. Please, Hannah, she whispered. I can't talk to you, Mom said. I know what Brooke said. I told her. And I know what Evelyn said. But I know something they don't know. Maya, she looked at me, trembling. I know about the burner app, I said. I know you shared the folder. Maya let out a sob, a ragged sound that seemed to tear her throat. "I didn't mean to hurt Lily," she cried. "I swear." "Then why did you do it?" I asked. "Why did you give someone access to that drive?" "Because he said he could help me," Maya blurted out. I asked. "Who is he?" Maya looked around wildly, terrified that the bushes might have ears. "The man from the program," she whispered. "The consultant. He works with Mr. Henderson. He came to me after Lily made that report. He said people were asking questions about the money, about the ledger. The ledger Lily had reported. He said I was the treasurer, so I was going to take the fall," Maya said, tears streaming down her face. "He said, unless we created a distraction, the audit would ruin me. He said he needed to shift the narrative. He told me to give him access to the shared drive. He said he would find something to make Lily look like the aggressor, just for a few days, just until the board vote. He used you." "Maya," I said, feeling a sick mixture of anger and pity. "He is an adult. He scared you into handing over your cousin's work so he could weaponize it." "I didn't know he would edit it like that," Maya sobbed. "I thought he would just find a mean text message or something. When I saw the video, I wanted to throw up, but then Mom saw it, and Grandma saw it, and they were so happy." "They were happy?" I asked, chilled. "They said it was a lifeline." Maya said, "They said it proved I was a victim. Mom said if I told the truth now, I would be the one in trouble. She said I would lose the scholarship. She said I would ruin everything for the family." I stepped closer and put a hand on her shoulder. She didn't pull away this time. She leaned into the touch, desperate for comfort. "You are not the mastermind. Maya," I said firmly, "you are a victim too. But you have to stop protecting him. What is his name?" She shook her head violently. "I can't. If I say his name, Mom will never forgive me. She needs him. For the loan." "The loan again. Go home, Maya." I said, "Just try to breathe. I'm going to fix this." I watched her walk away, a broken girl carrying the weight of 3 generations of secrets. Evelyn and Brooke weren't just protecting a donor. They were protecting a man who had blackmailed a teenager to cover his own financial crimes. I drove straight to Brooke's house. I had texted her earlier that I was ready to sign the loan papers, the lie I had crafted to get in the door. It was time to spring the trap. Brooke answered the door looking frazzled. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun, and she was wearing sweatpants. A rare sight for my image-obsessed sister. "Thank God," she said, ushering me in. "The loan officer closes at 5:30. If we sign now, I can scan it over." She led me to the kitchen table. Piles of paper were scattered everywhere. Unopened envelopes with red stamps, past due notices. It was a chaotic display of financial drowning. I sat down and pulled the loan application toward me. I looked at the numbers. The amount was staggering. $50,000. "Brooke," I said, looking up. "What is this for consolidation?" she muttered, not meeting my eyes, just tidying up some loose ends. I flipped through the supporting documents she had left out. Credit card statements, 4 of them, all maxed out. A second mortgage on the house. "This isn't consolidation." "Brooke," I said, "this is a rescue mission. You are underwater." "It is just a rough patch," Brooke snapped. "Since Mark left, the alimony hasn't been enough, and keeping up with the club dues, and Maya's lessons. And Evelyn knows I asked. Of course she knows. She's been helping with the minimum payments, but she said she can't float me anymore. She said I need this loan to stabilize, and she said you would co-sign, for the family," I said, repeating Evelyn's mantra. "Brooke," I said, putting the pen down, "Evelyn is using this. She is holding this debt over your head to make you compliant. She knows you are desperate, so she is making you attack Lily to save yourself." "That is not true," Brooke said, her voice trembling. "Isn't it?" I asked. "Maya just told me about the man from the program, the consultant, the one who asked for the video." Brooke went pale. She grabbed the edge of the table. "Maya talks too much," she hissed. "He promised to help her image." I said, "But he is also connected to this loan, isn't he? Is he the loan officer? Or is he on the board that approves the funds?" Brooke looked away. "He is on the credit union board," she whispered, "and the charity board. He said he could fast-track the approval. If the controversy around the program went away, if Lily took the blame." I finished. "Brooke, you are selling your niece to pay off your credit cards." Brooke slammed her hand on the table. "I am trying to survive," she screamed. "You don't know what it is like, Hannah. You live in your little apartment with your thrift store clothes, and you think you are so noble. I have a standard to maintain. If I lose this house, if Maya loses her spot, we are nothing. You are already nothing if you do this." I stood up. "I am not signing." Brooke's face twisted into something ugly. "If you walk out of here," she said, her voice dropping to a venomous whisper, "I will destroy her. I will tell everyone that Lily has been threatening Maya for months." Brooke said, "I will say she is unstable, dangerous. I will say she brings knives to school. I will weaponize every label I can find until no college will touch her." "You wouldn't," I said, horrified. "Try me." Brooke said, "I am drowning." "Hannah, and a drowning person will climb on top of anyone to get a breath, even their own sister." I looked at her. I saw the desperation, the absolute moral vacuum that fear had created. I walked out. I didn't slam the door. I closed it gently, as if leaving a funeral. Because the sister I knew was dead, I went home. The apartment was quiet. Lily was sitting on the floor of the living room, sorting through a box of old photos. She looked up when I came in. Her eyes were red. "Mom," she said. "Yeah, baby, I want to cancel the party." I dropped my keys on the table and sat down next to her on the rug. "Why?" I asked. "Because it is not worth it," she said. "I heard you on the phone with Grandma yesterday. I know they are threatening the rent. I know Aunt Brooke is going crazy. I don't want to be the reason everything falls apart." I pulled her into my arms. She felt so small, despite being taller than me now. "You are not the reason. Lily, you are the excuse. There is a difference. I don't care." She sobbed into my shoulder. "I just want it to stop. I don't need a sweet 16. I just need my mom not to be stressed. I just need to be invisible." I held her tighter. That was exactly what they wanted. They wanted her to shrink. They wanted her to erase herself so they could expand. "Lily, listen to me," I said, pulling back to look her in the eye. "If we cancel this party, we are telling them that they can take things from us whenever they want. We are telling them that your joy is negotiable. But it is just a party," Lily said. "It is not just a party anymore." I said, "It is a boundary. It is a flag in the ground. If you surrender this, you will surrender the next thing, and the next. You will spend your whole life apologizing for existing, and I will not let you do that." "But what do we do?" she asked. "They are so powerful. We offer them a way out." I said, "We try one last time to be decent, and if they refuse, then we fight." I typed up the email that night. I sent it to Evelyn, Brooke, and Mrs. Gable. Subject: proposal for resolution to the family. "We are at a crossroads. The current conflict is based on falsehoods that are easily disproven by digital evidence I now possess. However, for the sake of Maya's well-being and family unity, I am proposing a restorative plan. 1. A private mediation between Lily and Maya, supervised by Mrs. Gable, where the truth is acknowledged. 2. A public statement from Maya, not an apology, but a clarification stating that the video was a misunderstanding and the context was fictional. San. A formal request to the Briar Glen Youth Initiative to investigate the adult involvement in the distribution of the video, if we agree to this. The party proceeds as a celebration of family healing. If not, I will be forced to release the evidence I have gathered to the school board and the police. Hannah, I hit send. It was the high road. It was the last exit before the bridge blew up. The response came 10 minutes later. It wasn't an email. It was a text from Brooke. "You are threatening the family. If you go to the police, I will file a restraining order against Lily claiming she is a danger to Maya. I have the texts from the group chat where she said she hated her. I will twist them until she looks like a psychopath. Do not test me." I stared at the screen. She had chosen the nuclear option. She was going to frame Lily as violent to protect her loan. My phone buzzed again. It wasn't Brooke. It was Donnie. Check your email. Voicemail intercept just came through. You are going to want to hear this. I opened my laptop. The file was an audio attachment. I clicked play. The sound was grainy, recorded from a server backup of a voicemail box. A male voice, smooth, confident, slightly annoyed. Listen, Sarah, it is Henderson. I need you to keep the pressure on the Mercer girl for another 48 hours. The board vote is on Tuesday. If we can keep the inquiry focused on the teen drama until after I get re-elected as chair, I can bury the audit findings. Just tell Evelyn to hold the line. Keep the blame on Lily. We just need to get to Tuesday. I replayed it. Keep the blame on Lily. Just need to get to Tuesday. I looked at the calendar on the wall. Lily's birthday party was on Saturday, but the board vote the election for the chair of the nonprofit that controlled the funding. The scholarships and the contracts was this coming Tuesday. It wasn't about the party at all. The Sweet 16 was just noise. It was a smokescreen. Evelyn and Henderson were using my daughter as a chaff flare to distract the compliance officers and the donors. If everyone was looking at the cruel cousin and the theft video, they weren't looking at the fact that Henderson was embezzling funds and Evelyn was covering for him to keep her status and secure Brooke's loans. They needed a villain until Tuesday. I sat back in my chair. The anger that had been burning in my gut turned into something colder, sharper. They wanted a show. They wanted a spectacle to distract the town. Well, I had a party to plan, and I was going to give them a spectacle they would never forget. I picked up my phone and called Sheila at the venue. Sheila, I said, I need to add something to the reservation. What do you need? Hannah. I need a projector, I said, and a very large screen. I hung up. I walked into Lily's room. She was asleep, clutching her pillow. I smoothed her hair back. You are going to have your party, baby, I whispered. And you are going to get the best gift of all. You are going to get your name back, and Evelyn. She was going to get exactly what she deserved. The truth, served on a silver platter in front of everyone she tried to impress. I went back to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of water. My hands were steady. The fear was gone. Tuesday was the vote, but Saturday was the party, and on Saturday, the campaigning would end. The Friday morning meeting was scheduled for 9 o'clock in the conference room of Briar Glen High School. I arrived at 8:45, carrying a thick manila folder that contained the sum total of my sleepless nights and Donnie's digital excavation. I had the receipt from the dermatologist, the parking garage timestamp, the log of Lily's phone activity, and the printout of the voicemail transcript Donnie had intercepted. I felt a strange sense of calm. For the past week, I had been reacting, dodging threats, putting out fires, comforting my daughter. Today, I was done reacting. Today, I was presenting the narrative. I walked into the main office. The secretary nodded to me, her eyes lingering a moment too long, likely having seen the rumors on social media. Principal Higgins is ready for you, she said, and Mr. Trent from the Youth Initiative is here as well. I thanked her and walked into the conference room. Principal Higgins, a man who wore bow ties as a distraction from his perpetually weary expression, stood up to shake my hand. Beside him sat a man I didn't know. Mr. Trent. He was younger, sharp-featured, wearing a suit that looked too expensive for a non-profit salary. He had a laptop open and a notebook that was already half filled with tight, precise handwriting. Ms. Mercer, Principal Higgins said, "Thank you for coming. This is Marcus Trent, the compliance officer for the regional chapter of the Youth Initiative. Hannah, please," I said, shaking Trent's hand. His grip was firm, his eyes calculating. "We are here to discuss the incident regarding the fundraising video," Trent said, "and the allegations of cyberbullying involving your daughter and niece." I sat down and placed my folder on the table. "I am here to clear my daughter's name," I said, "and to provide evidence that the cyberbullying is actually a coordinated effort to frame her." Before I could open the folder, the door to the conference room swung open. I didn't need to turn around to know who it was. The clicking of heels on the linoleum was a rhythm I had known since birth. "I hope we haven't started without the family representative," Evelyn Mercer said. She breezed into the room, wearing a navy blazer and her signature pearls. Brooke followed in her wake, looking pale and jittery, clutching her handbag like a life preserver. Principal Higgins looked uncomfortable. "Mrs. Mercer," he said, "we didn't expect you. This meeting was requested by Hannah regarding Lily." "I am here to support my daughters," Evelyn said, pulling out a chair at the head of the table, "and to ensure that the reputation of the school and the charity is upheld. Proceed." She gestured for me to speak, as if she were the judge and I were a supplicant. I took a breath. The old Hannah, the one who sought approval and feared conflict, wanted to shrink. She wanted to let Evelyn take over, steer the ship, and smooth everything over with lies. But that Hannah couldn't afford to exist anymore. I looked at Principal Higgins. I did not invite my mother or my sister. I said clearly. Evelyn stiffened. "Hannah, don't be dramatic," she warned. "I am not being dramatic," I said, turning to face her. "I am being a parent. This meeting concerns my daughter. Lily, you are not her legal guardian. You are not her lawyer. You are her grandmother. And right now, your interests conflict with hers." Evelyn's eyes narrowed. "I am here to help you," she hissed. "No," I said. "You are here to control me. And I am done being controlled." I turned back to Mr. Trent. "Mr. Trent," I said, ignoring the radiating heat of my mother's fury. "The narrative you have been sold is that my daughter, Lily Mercer, created and posted a video accusing her cousin Maya of theft out of jealousy. That is the report we received from Mrs. Mercer," Trent said, glancing at Evelyn. I opened my folder. "Here is a receipt from Dr. Evans' office, dated last Tuesday. Here is the parking garage exit timestamp. Lily was with me, without her phone, at the exact moment the video was uploaded." I slid the papers across the table. Trent picked them up, studying them. "And here," I continued, "is the log from a digital forensic analysis of Lily's phone. It shows 0 data usage during the upload window." I pulled out the next sheet, and this is the most important part. The account that posted the video guest 882 was created using a burner number. That number is linked to a Verizon family plan. I paused, letting the silence fill the room. "My mother's family plan," I said, specifically. The line used by Maya. Brooke made a small, strangled noise. Evelyn didn't blink. "This is preposterous." Evelyn said, "You are twisting technicalities. Maya is a child. She probably left her phone unlocked. Lily could have used it. Lily was with me." "Mom," I said, my voice rising slightly before I caught myself. "I have the receipts. Mr. Trent looked up from the papers. He didn't look surprised. He looked resigned. "Miss Mercer," Trent said to me, "you are very thorough." "I have to be," I said. Trent closed the folder and leaned back. "To be honest," he said, looking at Evelyn, "this aligns with some internal flags we have already noticed." Evelyn's composure cracked. "Just a hairline fracture." "Flags?" she asked. "We have had concerns about the Briar Glen chapter's accounting for 3 months," Trent said. "There have been discrepancies in the donor allocation funds. When the video of the student treasurer, your granddaughter Maya, surfaced, it seemed like a convenient explanation, a teenage girl skimming cash. It was a neat, tidy story that explained the missing funds without implicating the board." Brooke let out a sob. She put her hand over her mouth. "It wasn't Maya." Brooke whispered, "We know it wasn't Maya." Trent said gently, "The amounts missing are in the thousands, not the $20 shown in that video. The video was a distraction. It was theater." He looked at me. "Your daughter's report, Ms. Mercer. The one she filed anonymously 2 weeks ago," I nodded. "That report triggered this," Trent said. "It spooked someone who needed a scapegoat. So they used the girls. They created a teenage drama to occupy the school and the parents while they tried to fix the books before the audit. I felt a vindication so strong it almost made me dizzy." "Mr. Henderson," I said. Trent didn't confirm the name. But he didn't deny it. He just tapped his pen on the table. "We are conducting a full investigation," Trent said. "But I wanted you to know, Hannah, that we do not believe Lily is the aggressor here, and we do not believe Maya is a thief. We believe they are both collateral damage." Evelyn stood up. Her face was very pale. "This meeting is over," she announced. "Mr. Trent, you are speaking out of turn. Mr. Henderson is a pillar of this community. Mr. Henderson is under review." Trent said calmly, "As is the entire board, including you, Mrs. Mercer." Evelyn stared at him. For the first time in my life, I saw her look genuinely afraid. She gathered her purse with trembling hands. "Come, Brooke," she commanded. Brooke didn't move. She was staring at the table, tears sliding down her face. Brooke Evelyn snapped. Brooke looked up. Her eyes were hollow. "He promised," she whispered. "He promised he would fix the loan if I kept quiet." "Brooke, stop talking." Evelyn shouted. "He lied to me." "Mom," Brooke said, her voice breaking. "He used Maya, and you let him." I watched them. The cracks in the foundation were finally turning into a landslide. Principal Higgins cleared his throat. "There is another matter," he said, regarding the scholarship. He pressed a button on the intercom. "Please send Maya in." The door opened and Maya walked in. She looked terrified to see all of us there, especially Evelyn. She stood by the door, hugging her arms. "Maya," Principal Higgins said gently, "we need to clarify the status of your application to the Future Leaders Program." Maya looked at Brooke, then at me. "It wasn't revoked," she said, her voice barely a whisper. Brooke closed her eyes. "What do you mean?" I asked. Brooke told us the interview was canceled and the scholarship was lost. It was a recommendation opportunity. Maya said, "Mr. Henderson was supposed to write a letter. He told Mom that he couldn't write it while there was a cloud over the program. He said the interview was postponed." "So you weren't kicked out?" I asked. "No," Maya said. "Mom she told everyone it was gone. She said we had to make it sound worse so people would feel sorry for me and be mad at Lily." I looked at Brooke. She was weeping silently now. She had exaggerated the damage to justify the cruelty. She had terrified her own daughter into believing her life was over, just to sell the lie. "Thank you." "Maya," I said, "you are brave for saying that." Maya looked at me, a flicker of gratitude in her eyes. Before she looked down at her shoes, Evelyn had regained her composure. She stood by the door, her hand on the knob. "You are all making a mistake," she said. "You are destroying a family over nothing." She looked at me. "And you, Hannah, you will regret this. You think you have won, but you have just alienated the only people who will ever help you." "Actually, Mom," I said, "there is one more thing." I pulled out a small slip of paper from my pocket. It was a note Sheila from the venue had written for me. The call to cancel the party. I said, "The one Sheila received." Evelyn froze. "I had Donnie run that number too." I said, "It wasn't a burner. It was your cell phone. Mom, you called the venue pretending to be me. You tried to steal my deposit." Evelyn didn't deny it. She lifted her chin. "I was protecting you," she said. "You can't afford that party, and you certainly can't afford the public embarrassment of throwing a celebration for a bully. I was doing what a mother does. I was making the hard choice for your own good." "For my own good?" I asked, incredulous. "You tried to erase my daughter's joy to cover up your friend's embezzlement. I was preventing a spectacle," Evelyn snapped. "And if you go through with it tomorrow, you will be the laughingstock of this town." She opened the door. "Brooke, are you coming or are you staying with the enemy?" Brooke hesitated. She looked at me, then at Maya. Then she stood up slowly. "I have to go," she whispered to me. "The loan." She trailed off. She was still trapped. She followed Evelyn out of the room, leaving Maya standing there. "Maya," Principal Higgins said, "you should go back to class." "Can I stay?" Maya asked, looking at me. "Just for a minute." Principal Higgins nodded and stepped out into the hall with Mr. Trent to give us privacy. Maya walked over to me. "I am sorry." "Hannah," she said, I wanted to tell you sooner. It is okay, I said. I know you were scared. Is Lily going to hate me forever? She asked. No, I said. Lily doesn't hate you. She hates the lie. That evening, the apartment felt different. The air was lighter, cleared of the smog of confusion. Lily and I sat at the kitchen table with a notebook. So Maya admitted it. Lily asked. She admitted the scholarship wasn't lost. I said. And the investigator knows the money theft was fake. The school is on our side. Lily let out a long breath. She slumped back in her chair. So it is over. The lie is over, I said, but the cleanup is just starting. Mr. Trent had warned me before I left the meeting. Be careful. Hannah, we are building a case against Henderson and the board, but until the police make arrests, naming him publicly as the source of the corruption could expose you to libel suits. He has expensive lawyers. I couldn't scream Henderson's name from the rooftops yet, but I could clear Lily's name. Mom, Lily said, I want to post something. On social media, I asked. Yeah, everyone is still commenting on that stupid video. I want to say something. Not mean. Just true. I nodded. Okay, let's write it together. We spent an hour drafting it. Lily wanted to be angry, to call Maya a liar and Brooke a psycho. I gently steered her back. If you attack them, you look like you are part of the drama, I told her. If you rise above it, you look like the person you are. In the end, she posted a simple text image to her Instagram story. Regarding the rumors, the video circulating was a clip from a drama club skit, filmed by me for a class project. It was stolen and edited to hurt my family. My cousin Maya is not a thief, and I am not a bully. We are both being used in a situation that is bigger than us. Thank you to everyone who waited for the facts before judging. See you at the Sweet 16. It was perfect. It cleared Maya without excusing her. It hinted at the larger conspiracy without naming names, and it reclaimed the party. Within minutes, the hearts and supportive comments started rolling in. I was washing dishes when my phone buzzed. It was Brooke. Can I come over? I hesitated. My instinct was to say no, to lock the door and never let that toxicity back in. But she was my sister. And I had seen the terror in her eyes at the meeting. 5 minutes. I texted back. Front porch only. I went outside. The night air was cool. Brooke pulled up and walked up the path. She looked exhausted. The perfectly applied makeup she wore as armor was gone. Hannah, she said. Brooke, I need a truce, she said. She didn't look at me. She looked at the moths fluttering around the porch light. What does a truce look like? I asked. I can make the accusations stop, she said. I can tell everyone that it was a misunderstanding. I can tell the moms in the PTA that Lily is a great kid. I can fix the social damage. And in exchange, I asked, though I already knew, in exchange, you co-sign the consolidation loan, she said. Her voice was flat, mechanical. I almost laughed. It was so tragic. Brooke, I said, you just heard Mr. Trent. The board is under investigation. Mr. Henderson is going to be audited. If you take a loan from that credit union, approved by him, right now, you are tying yourself to a sinking ship. I don't have a choice, Brooke cried. The bills are due on Monday. If I don't pay them, I lose the car. I lose the house. Evelyn said she won't help unless I fix this. So you are asking me to drown with you? I said, I am asking you to help your sister, she pleaded. Just sign the paper. It is just a signature. If you do it, I will make sure Evelyn comes to the party and acts nice. I will make sure it is a perfect night. I looked at her. I saw the little girl I used to share a bunk bed with, but I also saw the woman who had threatened to label my daughter dangerous just 24 hours ago. No, I said. Brooke recoiled, as if I had slapped her. What no? I repeated. I will not sign. I will not bail you out of a debt you incurred trying to keep up with a lifestyle you can't afford. And I definitely will not do it in exchange for you telling the truth. The truth is free. Brooke, you don't get to sell it to me. Brooke's face hardened. The desperation turned back into spite. You are making a mistake, she said. Evelyn is furious. Let her be furious. They are coming to the party. You know, Brooke said. I paused. Who, Evelyn? And me. I thought Evelyn said it was a potential embarrassment. I said, she changed her mind. Brooke said, she says if the party is happening, the family needs to be there to control the narrative. She is not going to let you spin this. She is coming to make a speech I asked, a toast, Brooke said with a dark smile, to family unity. She plans to stand up in front of everyone and forgive Lily. Forgive her, I asked, feeling the anger spike, for what Lily didn't do anything. That is the point, Brooke said. Evelyn is going to frame it as her being the benevolent matriarch forgiving the wayward grandchild. She is going to rewrite history in real time, in front of your guests. And if you cause a scene, you will look like the crazy one. I stared at her. It was diabolical. Evelyn was going to hijack the victory. She was going to show up, smile, and publicly pardon Lily for a crime she didn't commit, cementing the lie that Lily was the sinner and Evelyn was the saint. Thanks for the warning. I said. It wasn't a warning, Brooke said, turning to walk away. It was a promise. Unless you sign, I am not signing. Brooke. Good night. I watched her drive away. I went back inside. Lily was asleep. I sat at the kitchen table. The silence of the apartment was heavy. So, they were coming, Evelyn and Brooke. They were going to walk into the annex, wearing their best clothes, and try to turn my daughter's birthday into a PR stunt for their own redemption. They wanted to control the narrative. I looked at the laptop sitting on the table. I looked at the file labeled timeline_evidence.mp4 that I had been working on with Gary. Evelyn wanted to make a speech. She wanted to stand in the spotlight. Fine, I whispered. I would give her the spotlight. I picked up my phone and called Sheila one last time. Sheila, I said, it is Hannah. Hi, Hannah, everything's set for tomorrow. Yes, I said, but I need to change the order of events. Okay, when my mother arrives. I said, I want you to cut the house lights. Cut the lights. Yes, and then I want you to spotlight the center stage. I closed my eyes, visualizing the moment. They thought they were walking into a surrender. They were walking into a trap. I will see you tomorrow. Sheila, I said. I hung up. I checked my bank account. I had enough for the food, the DJ, and the projector rental. I had $0 left for a safety net. But I didn't need a net. I needed a sword. I went to my closet and pulled out my dress. It was a simple black dress I had bought years ago. I held it up. Tomorrow. I wasn't just a single mom struggling to pay rent. Tomorrow, I was the prosecutor, the judge, and the jury, and Briar Glen was going to hear the verdict. The morning of the Sweet 16 broke clear and cold, a true autumn day. I woke Lily up with pancakes. She looked rested, the dark circles under her eyes fading. Happy birthday, baby, I said. She hugged me. Are you nervous? She asked. No, I said. I am excited. We spent the morning getting ready. I did her hair, curling it the way she liked. She put on her dress, a shimmering teal gown we had found on sale in July. She looked like a woman. She looked strong. Mom, she said, looking in the mirror. What if they ruin it? I put my hands on her shoulders. They can only ruin it if we let them. I said, we are not going to let them. We drove to the venue at 4. The room looked beautiful. Sheila had done an amazing job. The balloons were teal and silver. The photo booth was set up in the corner. The projector screen was lowered at the front of the room, currently displaying a loop of baby photos I had scanned. Guests started arriving at 5. Lily's friends, my coworkers from the clinic, the neighbors who had supported us. Even Mrs. Gable showed up, giving me a supportive nod. The music was loud. The laughter was real. For an hour, it was just a birthday party. Lily was dancing. She was smiling. Then, at 6:30, the atmosphere changed. The double doors opened. Evelyn walked in. She was wearing a silver dress that was slightly too formal for the occasion, shimmering like a suit of armor. Brooke was a step behind her, wearing black, looking like a shadow. Maya was with them, her head down, looking miserable. The room went quiet. People whispered. Everyone knew the rumors. Everyone knew the tension. Evelyn didn't wait for a greeting. She walked straight toward the table where I was standing near the cake. She had a gift bag in her hand. "Hannah," she said, her voice loud enough to carry. "Mother," I said. "We are here," she announced, beaming at the guests. "Family is family. After all, we couldn't let a little misunderstanding keep us away." She turned to Lily. "Happy birthday." "Lily," she said. "Thank you, Grandma." Lily said stiffly. Evelyn handed her the bag. "Open it," Evelyn urged. Lily hesitated, then reached into the bag. She pulled out a card. "Read it," Evelyn said. Lily opened the card. I saw her eyes widen. "What is it?" I asked. Lily looked at me. "It is a check," she whispered. "For my college fund." Evelyn smiled a benevolent, shark-like smile. "We want to help," she said. "We want to put this ugliness behind us, as long as we stay united. This family supports its own." I saw the trap. The check was the leash. If Lily accepted it, she was accepting the hush money. She was accepting the narrative that Evelyn was the generous savior forgiving the troublemaker. Brooke stepped forward. "Mom just wants peace. Hannah," she said. "Let's just have a nice night." Evelyn turned to the DJ. "Excuse me," she called out. "I would like to say a few words." The DJ looked at me. I nodded. "Let her speak." Evelyn took the microphone. She stood in the center of the room, the spotlight hitting her silver dress. "Hello, everyone," she said. "For those who don't know me, I am Evelyn Mercer, Lily's grandmother." She paused for effect. "I know there has been some confusion lately, some hurt feelings. Teenage years are difficult. Mistakes are made. Words are said that we regret." She looked at Lily with a look of theatrical pity. "But the Mercer family believes in second chances. We believe in forgiveness. And tonight, I want to publicly say that we forgive Lily for the turbulence of the last few weeks. We love her, and we are moving forward." There was a scattering of polite applause. People looked confused. She was doing exactly what Brooke said she would do, pardoning Lily for a crime she didn't commit. Evelyn smiled, basking in the attention. She raised her glass. To Lily, may she learn from this and grow into a fine young woman. She lowered the mic, looking triumphant. She had won. She had rewritten the story. I stepped forward. "May I have the mic?" "Mom," I asked. Evelyn hesitated, then handed it to me with a condescending smile. "Of course." "Hannah." I took the microphone. I looked at the room. I looked at my daughter, who was holding a check that burned her hands. I looked at Maya, who was trembling in the corner. I looked at Brooke, who looked sick, and I looked at Evelyn, who looked untouchable. "Thank you, Mom." I said, "That was a beautiful speech about forgiveness." I signaled to Sheila in the back booth. But before we move forward, I said, "I think it is important that we understand exactly what we are forgiving." Sheila hit the button. The house lights died. The room went pitch black. The only light came from the projector screen behind me. The baby photos disappeared. A new video appeared. It wasn't the clip of Maya. It was a screen recording of a text chain. The text chain from guest_882. The room went silent. Then, the image changed. It was the document from the private investigator, the Verizon bill, the name Evelyn Mercer highlighted in yellow, connected to the burner number. I heard a gasp from the crowd. Evelyn turned to look at the screen, her mouth dropping open, and then the audio played. The voice of Mr. Henderson filled the room, booming through the speakers. "Keep the blame on Lily. Just need to get to Tuesday." I stood in the dark, letting the words hang in the air. I wasn't screaming. I wasn't fighting. I was just letting the truth speak, and the truth was screaming. The morning of the Sweet 16 arrived with a sky the color of bruised iron, threatening rain that never quite fell. I woke up with a feeling that was less like excitement and more like the steady, rhythmic calm of a soldier before a ceasefire. We spent the afternoon transforming the community center annex, I had spent the last $48 in my bank account on fresh flowers, white daisies, and baby's breath. Because Lily loved them. We didn't have a professional event planner or a catered buffet from the country club. We had trays of homemade lasagna, a playlist Lily had curated herself, and a photo booth Sheila had rigged up with PVC pipe and a silver curtain. It was modest, it was warm, and as I watched Lily laughing with her friends while they taped streamers to the ceiling, I realized something important. I had spent the last week sharpening my knife. I had prepared the projector. I had the evidence loaded and ready to fire. I had planned to turn this party into a public execution of my mother's reputation. But looking at Lily, I realized that if I did that, I would be making the night about Evelyn. I would be making it about the feud. Lily deserved a night that was about her growth, her kindness, and her survival. I walked over to the tech booth where Sheila was testing the microphone. "Sheila," I said. "Yeah, Hannah." "The video," I said. "The one we queued up." The expose Sheila asked, her finger hovering over the button. "Don't play it," I said. Sheila looked at me, surprised. "Are you sure they're going to walk in here like they own the place?" "I know," I said, "but I'm not going to burn the house down to kill a spider. Just keep the lights on. Keep the music playing. We are going to do this with dignity." Sheila smiled and nodded. "You are a better woman than me." "Hannah." I wasn't sure if I was better. I was just tired of the war. The party started at 6, the room filled with the chaotic, joyful noise of 30 teenagers. The air smelled of pasta sauce and cheap cologne. It was perfect. At 6:30, the atmosphere shifted. The air pressure in the room seemed to drop. The double doors swung open, and Evelyn Mercer walked in. She hadn't RSVP'd, but she arrived with the entitlement of a monarch returning to her colony. She wore a silver dress that caught the light, shimmering aggressively. Brooke walked a step behind her, wearing black, looking less like a guest and more like a bodyguard. And trailing behind them was Maya, looking small and terrified. I watched them enter. I felt the old spike of adrenaline, the fight-or-flight response that Evelyn had installed in me since childhood. But I didn't run, and I didn't fight. I just stood my ground near the cake table. Evelyn scanned the room, her lip curling slightly at the homemade decorations. Before her eyes locked on me, she marched over, her heels clicking on the linoleum. "Hannah," she said. Her voice was bright, fake, loud enough for the nearby parents to hear. "Mom," I said. "I didn't think you were coming." Evelyn laughed. A tinkling, brittle sound. "Don't be silly. I wouldn't miss my granddaughter's milestone. We are family. Family shows up." She thrust a heavy, cream-colored envelope toward me. "For Lily," she said. I took it. It wasn't sealed. I opened the flap and pulled out the card. Inside was a check. The amount was $5,000. But it was the note written in the memo line that made my stomach turn. For college, contingent on family unity. It wasn't a gift. It was a leash. It was a bribe to buy our silence and our compliance. She was offering money in exchange for us swallowing the truth and getting back in line. I looked up at her. "We don't need this." "Mom," I said quietly. Evelyn stepped closer, dropping her voice to a hiss. "Don't be a fool. Hannah, you have $40 to your name. You need a co-signer. You need stability. Take the money. Let me make a toast. Let me fix the narrative. And we can all go back to normal." Normal. I thought, normal meant Evelyn in control, Brooke in debt, and me in fear. I slipped the check back into the envelope and placed it on the table. "Enjoy the party." "Mom," I said, "but there will be no toasts." Evelyn's eyes flashed. But before she could argue, Brooke grabbed her arm. "Mom, please," Brooke whispered. "People are watching." Evelyn shook her off and stalked toward the punch bowl, radiating disapproval. I watched Brooke pull Maya into a corner. I couldn't hear the words, but I saw the body language. Brooke was gripping Maya's upper arm tight, shaking her slightly. Maya's face was pale, her eyes darting around the room like a trapped animal. "Smile," I saw Brooke mouth. "Act normal." Maya tried to smile, but it looked like a grimace of pain. She looked sick with anxiety. I signaled Mrs. Gable, who was chatting with the history teacher near the DJ booth. I pointed to Maya. Mrs. Gable nodded, understanding immediately. She set her drink down and began to make her way through the crowd, approaching Maya not as a counselor, but as a safe harbor in a storm. I saw Maya's shoulders drop 2 inches when Mrs. Gable started talking to her. I let out a breath. We were holding the line. Just a few more hours. My phone buzzed in the pocket of my dress. I ignored it. It buzzed again, and again, a persistent, demanding vibration against my hip. I pulled it out. The screen lit up with a name I didn't expect to see on a Saturday night. Marcus Trent, the compliance officer. I stepped out into the hallway, away from the music. "Hello," I answered. "Ms. Mercer." Trent's voice was clipped. "Urgent. I am sorry to disturb you on a weekend, but things have moved faster than we anticipated. What is going on?" "We convened an emergency board meeting via Zoom an hour ago." Trent said, "Based on the evidence you provided, specifically the voicemail recording from Mr. Henderson and the phone records linking the fake account to your mother's plan, the board has voted." My heart hammered against my ribs. "And Thomas Henderson has been removed as chair. Effective immediately." Trent said, "The police have been notified regarding the embezzlement." I leaned against the cool cinder block wall. "And my mother?" I asked. "Evelyn Mercer's role is under immediate review." Trent said, "She has been suspended from all board activities pending a full investigation into donor manipulation and interference. We have frozen her access to the organization's accounts." Suspended, the word hung in the air. For Evelyn, who defined her existence by her status and her influence, suspension was a fate worse than death. "Thank you for telling me." I said, "I just wanted you to know." Trent said, "It is over. Hannah, the wall is down." I hung up. I stood there for a moment, letting the reality wash over me. The giant, terrifying machine that was my mother's influence had been dismantled by a single voicemail and a burner phone number. I turned to go back into the party, but I wasn't alone in the hallway. Evelyn was standing 10 feet away. She had followed me out. She was clutching her phone, staring at the screen with a look of absolute incomprehension. She must have received the email notification at the exact same moment. "Mom," I said. She looked up. Her face wasn't angry anymore. It was shattered. And then, the shards reassembled into a mask of pure, unadulterated rage. "You did this," she whispered. "Mom, listen. You destroyed us," she screamed. Her voice echoed down the concrete hallway, loud and raw. The music inside the venue seemed to stop, or maybe it just faded into the background of her fury. "You went to them," Evelyn shouted, advancing on me. "You gave them the records. You betrayed your own blood." "I didn't betray anyone," I said, keeping my voice calm. "I told the truth. The truth." Evelyn spat the word. "The truth is that you are a jealous, ungrateful failure who couldn't handle her own life. So you decided to burn mine down. I built this family. I secured our place in this town. And you handed over to the police." The door to the venue opened. Guests started to spill out, drawn by the shouting. Lily was at the front. Brooke was behind her. Evelyn didn't care. The mask was gone. "You are cut off," she shrieked, waving her phone at me. "You are dead to me. Hannah, I will see you on the street. I will see you begging." She was humiliating herself. She was showing every person in Briar Glen exactly who she was. She wasn't the benevolent matriarch. She was a tyrant losing her crown. I could have destroyed her then. I could have told Sheila to play the video. I could have listed her crimes to the gathered crowd. I could have yelled back. But I looked at Lily. She looked frightened, but she was looking at me, waiting to see what I would do. I took a deep breath. "I am not going to fight you." "Mom," I said, "not here, not tonight." I stepped forward, placing myself between Evelyn and the guests. "This is Lily's birthday," I said firmly. "It is a celebration, and you are disrupting it." "I am disrupting it." Evelyn laughed, a manic sound. "I am the only reason you have a roof over your head." "Not anymore." I said. I pointed to the door at the end of the hall. You need to leave. Mom. Evelyn stared at me. She waited for me to crumble. She waited for the apology. Please leave, I repeated. Before I call the police and have you escorted out for trespassing, the threat landed. Evelyn looked at the guests watching her, the teachers, the neighbors, the friends. She realized, finally, that she had no power here. The board was gone. The reputation was gone. The leverage was gone. She straightened her spine, trying to salvage a shred of dignity. Fine, she said, if you want to rot in your mediocrity. Hannah, go ahead. I am done with you. She turned and walked down the hall. She didn't look back. She pushed through the exit doors and vanished into the gray evening. The silence she left behind was thick. I turned to the guests. I am so sorry. Everyone. I said, please, there is still cake. There is still music. Let's not let this spoil the night. Sheila, bless her, cranked the volume up on a Taylor Swift song immediately. The tension broke. The kids went back to the dance floor, but I needed air. I walked out the side door into the parking lot. The rain was holding off, but the air was damp. I leaned against the brick wall, shaking. It was over. I had evicted my mother from my life. I heard footsteps. It was Maya. She was wearing her coat, hugging herself against the chill. Hannah, she asked. Hey, Maya, is she gone? Yes, I said. She is gone. Maya let out a sob. She covered her face with her hands. I am so sorry, she cried. I am so sorry. Hannah. I walked over and pulled her into a hug. She collapsed against me, crying the way a child cries when they have been holding it in for too long. It wasn't your fault. Maya, I said. It was. She sobbed. I let him do it. The man. Mr. Henderson's consultant. He told me exactly what to say. He told me to act like a victim. He coached me on how to look sad in the hallway. He said if I didn't do it, Mom would go to jail for the debts. I stroked her hair. He was lying to you, Maya. He was scaring you to protect himself. He is the one who edited the video. Maya whispered. He made me give him the password. I was so scared. I know. I said. I looked up and saw Lily standing in the doorway. She had heard. She walked over to us. She didn't look angry. She looked steady. So I was right. Lily said softly. We turned to her. My report, Lily said. The one I sent 2 weeks ago about the yelling and the ledger. It wasn't pointless. No, I said. It wasn't pointless. It was the first domino. It scared them so much, they had to invent a war to cover it up. You didn't cause this trouble. Lily, you exposed it. Lily looked at Maya. I am sorry I called you a snob. Lily said. I am sorry I let them frame you. Maya whispered. They stood there for a moment. 2 cousins in prom dresses standing in a parking lot. The debris of their grandmother's war scattered around them. Then, Lily reached out and took Maya's hand. Come inside, Lily said. It is freezing out here, and we haven't cut the cake. Maya hesitated. I can't. My mom. Your mom isn't going anywhere, a voice said. We turned. Brooke was sitting on the curb near her car. She was smoking a cigarette. Something I hadn't seen her do since high school. She looked deflated. The perfect posture was gone. She stood up and walked over to us. She looked at me. She is really gone, Brooke asked. Evelyn. She is suspended from the board, I said, and Henderson is out. It is over. Brooke, the loan isn't happening. Brooke nodded slowly. She didn't scream. She didn't threaten. She just looked incredibly tired. I don't know what to do, she whispered. I am going to lose the house, Hannah. Then you lose the house, I said, and you get an apartment, and you get a job, and you stop living for Evelyn's approval. Brooke looked at Maya, then at me. Tears welled in her eyes. But they weren't the crocodile tears of the last week. They were real. I am sorry, she said. I was so afraid of being poor. I was so afraid of being you. I smiled. A little sadly. I am pretty happy. Brooke, Being me isn't so bad. Brooke dropped the cigarette and crushed it with her heel. Can I still have cake, she asked. Yeah, I said. You can have cake. We went back inside. The party lasted another 2 hours. It was messy and loud and wonderful. Lily danced with Maya. Brooke sat in the corner with Mrs. Gable, talking quietly. At 10 o'clock, we packed up. I drove Lily home. The car was filled with balloons and leftover flowers. Mom, Lily said from the passenger seat. Yeah. You didn't play the video. No, I said. I didn't. Why? Because, I said, turning onto our street. You don't defeat a bully by becoming one. You defeat them by being happy in spite of them. Lily smiled. It was a good birthday, she said. It was. I agreed. We pulled into the parking lot of our apartment complex. The building was old. The paint was peeling, and the rent was due in 2 weeks. I didn't have a cosigner. I didn't have a safety net. But as I looked up at our window, glowing with the light of the lamp we had left on, I felt richer than I had ever felt in my life. I had my daughter. I had the truth. And for the first time in 33 years, I was free. I turned off the engine. Come on, I said. Let's go home. Thank you for listening to Your Daughter Doesn't Deserve a Sweet 16. I hope this story resonated with you. It is a story about the lengths we go to for the people we love, and the courage it takes to break the cycles that hold us back. I would love to know where you are listening from. Please leave a comment below. And if you enjoyed Hannah and Lily's journey, please subscribe to Revenge Stories for more tales of justice, drama, and redemption. Share your thoughts in English. I read every single one. Until next time.